Okay, so this lesson is actually super easy, super short. It's preparing us for what we're going to do next. So we're just going to work on finding factors using the X box, okay? So what we need, the two numbers are two factors that will multiply to give you this number, and then we'll add together to give you this number, okay? So we need two numbers that'll multiply to give us 10. So that's where we're going to start. We know 1 times 10 is 10, and 2 times 5 is 10. Well, which of these pairs will add up to give us 11? Well, 2 plus 5 is 7, not 11. But 1 and 10 will add up to give us 11. So those are our answers. These are the factors that multiply together to give us 10, and then add together to give us 11. So that's our answer, 1 and 10, okay? Same thing over here. We're looking for numbers that will multiply to give us 8. So we know we can either do 1 times 8 or 2 times 4. But then they have to add together to give me a negative 6, okay? Well, if you think about it, the only things that multiply to equal a positive number is either 2 positives or 2 negatives, okay? So if they have to multiply to give you a positive but add to give you a negative, you can't have 2 positives add up to a negative, right? You can't have 1 negative and 1 positive because then that's going to multiply to be a negative 8. So we need both numbers to be negative in order to multiply to give us a positive and add together to give us a negative. Well, negative 1 plus a negative 8 would be a negative 9. Negative 2 plus a negative 4 is a negative 6, and negative 2 times negative 4 is a positive 8. So these are our answers, negative 2 and negative 4, okay? And this third one, it's going to multiply to be a negative 20. So we'll first just think about 20. 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5, okay? So since it has to multiply to be a negative 20, that means one of them would have to be negative. Not both, because if both are negative, it'd multiply to be a positive. One would have to be negative, and since they've got to add up to be a positive number, that means the positive number is the greater number. Your greater number would need to be positive in order to keep it as a positive number. If this was a negative one, then our larger number would need to be negative, okay? Because it's going to keep it positive in this case. So that means my smaller number would be the negative ones, okay? So the larger number would need to be positive to keep it positive. So what that means is 20 minus 1, or 20 plus a negative 1, same thing as 19. 10 minus 2 is 8. 5 minus 4 is 1. So a positive 5 and a negative 4 would add up to give me 1 and would multiply to be a negative 20. All right, and then we have 40 and 14. Some of y'all may already be able to see some of these in your head if you're good at your multiplication tables. If not, you may need to play around with it until you figure it out. So multiplying to be a positive number and adding to be a positive number, so we want them both to be positive. These are all the numbers that will multiply to give us 40. And the ones that would add up to give us 14 would be 4 and 10. Okay, 4 times 10 is 40, and 4 plus 10 is 14. Number 5, it's got to multiply to be a negative, right? Which means one of them would have to be negative. Since my answers, when they add together, stays negative, then my larger number is the one that's going to be negative, okay? So we have 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. So like I said, in order to stay negative, when they add together, the larger number is going to be the one that's negative, okay? And the one that would work is going to be 3, and negative 8. 3 times negative 8 is negative 24, and 3 plus a negative 8 would be a negative 5, okay? Negative 18, so they multiply to give us a negative, but they're gonna add up to be a positive. So 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. So 1 would have to be negative, but the larger one is going to be positive, so it stays positive. So your smaller ones are going to be the negatives. And negative 2 plus a positive 9 would give us 7. Okay? This plus sign I'm putting is just to show you they need to add up to equal this number, but they need to multiply to give you that number. Okay? 30 and negative 11. So they need to multiply to be 30 and add up to give you negative 11. Since they have to multiply to be a positive number, but then add to be a negative, then that means both of them will be negative. So when we say 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6, they're all gonna have to be negative, right? It's 2 negatives will multiply to give you a positive, but then add up to give you a negative number. So our winners, hopefully y'all can see it, the ones that would add up to give us negative 11 would be negative 5 and negative 6, okay? And lastly, number 8, multiply to be a positive number and then add up to be a positive number. So you need 2 positives or 2 negatives. Since it's adding to be a positive, we want 2 positive numbers on both sides. So it's either 1 times 6 or 2 times 3, okay? Ones like this, please don't get confused and think, oh, well, 1 and 6 can make 5. No, it's gotta add to be a 5 and both need to be positive. So it is 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6 and 2 plus 3 is 5. And that's it for today.